Another MU apartment building may not be up to code. Why engineers are taking a closer look.
Too close for comfort. A man is caught dealing hard drugs less than a mile away from a Jeff City school.
More trash doesn't necessarily mean more treasure. Why you could be paying more for a household chore. KOMU 8 News at 6 starts now.
After a walkway collapse killed a Columbia firefighter less than a month ago, MU is tightening up its maintenance. Good evening, everyone. I'm Jim Reek.
And I'm Brittany Pieper. Today, the university told tenants of Terra apartment complex their apartments may not be up to code. KOMU 8's Harris Chang is live from the complex to tell us what the problem is and how tenants are taking that news.
I'm live here at Terra Apartments right now, which is an MU-run apartment complex right off of Stadium Boulevard and Ashland Street. Now, crews tomorrow will be working on balconies and decks just like the one you see right behind me. Earlier today, apartment tenants received an email from Residential Life regarding screen doors. The email says the screen doors leading to decks and on second and third story apartments will need to be worked on for possible weathering of wood. As a result, tenants were asked to remove all things from their decks, so not to go on their decks until all work is done. Some tenants I talked to expressed their frustrations with the university.
Just a little frustrated. I mean, we're obviously paying to have the entire apartment, and not being able to go out on the deck is, we're paying for it, so we should be able to go out there.
Work will begin tomorrow morning, and they say that it will be completed by March 28th. Reporting live in Columbia, Harris Chang, KOMU 8 News.
Columbia City leaders are kicking around the idea of a pay-as-you-throw trash system, meaning if you haul more trash to the curb, you'll pay more each month. KOMU 8's Nick Thompson joins us live in Columbia to explain how this would work. Nick?
Well, it was trash day in many parts of South and East Columbia, so residents opened up their bags and put them out on the curb. But that all could change, as the city says you might have to start putting your bags in a bin like you do in many other cities.
For Columbia's solid waste utility, more trash does not always mean more treasure. Residents in the city pay $15 a month to put bags out onto the curb, and the city gets the same amount of money regardless of whether you have one bag or nearly 10 bags.
It's an unlimited, as long as it's packaged correctly right now, they can put out whatever they want for $15.42 per month. And really, I don't think that's fair to a large percentage of the population.
At Columbia's City Council retreat this week, city leaders said the solid waste utility could be troubled in 2 years if it doesn't generate more cash. The city has plans to update the truck fleet and move its offices out by the landfill in Northeast Columbia, but the city doesn't have the money to make it happen. Under a pay-as-you-throw trash bin, you'd pay a monthly fee for a bin, and you'd pay more if you have bigger bins or multiple bins.
They pay for water and sewer based on the consumption. You may have a base rate that everyone paid, but then as you are a larger family, you are generating more trash. Or if you are maybe an elderly person or someone that travels a lot and you don't have it, you don't have to pay quite as much.
In 2012, the city proposed a pilot program to test roll carts, and it wasn't popular with the elderly. Citizen Clarence Woodard wrote to a local newspaper saying, 170 volunteers were interested in the pilot program. I imagine 80% of those weren't senior citizens. If there were senior citizen volunteers, they have a short, level driveway. The trash service says citizens are familiar with paying for services like electricity and water based on what they use. It may be time to think the same way about trash.
Now, Public Works Director John Glasscock said his department is currently studying the best way to pay for trash service in Columbia, but he says if his staff finds that the pay-as-you-throw system with the bins works out, the city may once again try to roll out a pilot testing program. Reporting live in Columbia, Nick Thompson, KOMU 8 News.
Jefferson City Police arrested a man for selling heroin and cocaine less than a mile away from Jefferson City High School. Police charged this man, 28-year-old Melvin Nunley Jr., with 2 counts of distributing heroin and 1 count of distributing crack cocaine within 1,000 feet of a school. The arrest happened here, the 800 block of Dunklin Street, right on the edge of Lincoln University's campus. Nunley is a suspect in an ongoing heroin distribution investigation.
Jefferson City and heroin made headlines several times this month. March 2nd, Jefferson City police investigated a couple's death at the America's Best Value Inn and determined the cause, a heroin overdose. The next day, we reported the number of heroin overdoses actually decreased in 2013. Police attributed the decrease to the department's increasing aggressiveness in tracking down heroin dealers. A day later, a Jefferson City man ended up in jail after an apparent heroin overdose.
Human trafficking is a growing industry in the U.S. and Mid-Missouri is part of that trend. Today, the U.S. Attorney for the Western District of Missouri announced 33-year-old Columbia man Kenyatta Miles has been indicted on charges related to sex trafficking. KOMU 8's Shane McAllister spent the day finding out how human trafficking is affecting Mid-Missouri.
It's a complicated industry, but Mid-Missouri does have an organization working to eliminate human trafficking. According to the Central Missouri Stop Human Trafficking Coalition, Mid-Missouri has all of the components for a thriving trafficking industry. They say Columbia has people willing to exploit other people and people willing to pay for it. The most common forms of trafficking here are labor and sex. Today I spoke with the co-chair of the coalition who tells me the best way to combat the growing industry is through education.
Once they hear about it, then they can think back and say, you know, I think I saw something, or I know someone, or oh my gosh, now I realize in that business that it's not just this happening, that there could very well be victims in that place.
The coalition says the most effective way to get a victim out of trafficking situation is to be able to provide them with the resources to do so. Those could include cell phones or bus tickets to leave town. To find out more about how you can get involved, visit our website at komu.com.
The University of Missouri is considering changing its employee policy for reporting suspected sexual violence after a former student swimmer committed suicide. The parents of Sasha Manu Corey say their daughter killed herself after an alleged off-campus rape by as many as 3 football players back in February of 2010. An outside law firm is reviewing the university's response. The Columbia Missourian reports the university does not have a reporting requirement and does not offer training for faculty and staff on how to handle reporting of possible violations of Title IX. That's an anti-discrimination law covering sexual harassment and violence. The Federal Education Department commended such a requirement 3 years ago.
Today we spoke with Columbia School Superintendent Chris Belcher about the district's severe underfunding. Yesterday we told you about the Missouri Budget Project report that says Columbia schools are underfunded by more than $800 per student. Belcher says the district is fully aware of the issue and reducing the funding gap is essential. He says the $13 million gap in funding results in larger class sizes, cutting programs, and eliminating jobs. The district is pushing lawmakers for more money.
So we're having those conversations with our legislators. The governor's taking one position, the House is taking another, but I think we're seeing compromise come to some level of funding increase.
Nearly 2 out of 3 Missouri school districts are underfunded $800 or more per student.
Speaking of money, a new report ranks the average sales tax paid in Missouri as the 14th most expensive among the 50 states. Take a look at this map from the Tax Foundation. That 14th ranking is still lower than many of our neighbors, including Kansas and Illinois. The nonprofit research group examined state sales tax rate as well as the average local sales tax rate to create that ranking. Now, Missouri's state sales tax actually ranks 37th out of the 45 states charging a sales tax, but the state's average local sales tax is one of the highest rates among the nation.
Imagine making more than $10 an hour making pizza. A St. Louis pizzeria will pay its employees $10.10 an hour starting April 1st. The owner says he already pays his workers more than minimum wage, but wants to make sure they're not scraping by. Missouri's current minimum wage is $7.50 an hour. A beautiful first day of spring. Let's send it over to Rosie for a check of the forecast. Rosie.
Jim, it was really easy to ring in spring with such spring-like temperatures, and the good news is they're only going to get just a little bit better for tomorrow, but we do have a very dual-sided forecast. So check out temperatures right now across most of the state. You can see that cooler air is confined now to our northeast, and what we've been doing all day has been bringing in those warmer temperatures down to our south and west. Check out this temperature trend map over the next 4 days. For tomorrow, you can see just looks like a perfect Friday, but we do have to talk about the reason temperatures are going to be dropping and whether or not we have any chance of precipitation in the extended forecast. I'll give you all of those details coming up in just a few minutes.
A new free service to keep your home safe while you're away, how you can take advantage of that.
Welcome back, everyone. Really nice conditions for about the next 24 hours. 70-degree mark with mostly sunny skies. Check out the more than 20-degree drop we're experiencing with that cold front. I said it was more of a powerhouse in the temperature department, and it certainly will be taking us back into the 40s for the weekend. And then with that Canadian high, guys, we're going to stay down there for a good portion of next week. Let's talk about today's First Alert Weather IQ question. Which temperature scale is most closely related to Celsius? I feel like Rankine might be a surprising word for you guys to see, but give it a shot.
No, I don't think it's Fahrenheit, so I'd say maybe Kelvin. I don't.
Jim?
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, you guys, that's completely correct.
This week.
Kelvin, it's Celsius plus 237.15.
Oh, of course
Easy
it
math.
is. Of course it is.
Obviously.
Thanks, Rosie.
We'll be right back. Spring break starts next week for lots of mid-Missouri schools, which means vacation for some people. The police department put out a news release today with tips on how to secure your home while you're away. KOMU 8's Meredith Allbear tells us about an additional free service in Columbia that allows for peace of mind while you're on vacation.
Last year, MU student Jordan Fields locked all of her doors before leaving for spring break. But when she returned home, things just didn't seem right.
We walked up the stairs and we saw that the doors were kicked in and everything.
Someone stole 3 computers from Fields' house and also broke her safe. And she wasn't the only one to find possessions missing after returning home. Last year, the Columbia Police Department reported 21 residential burglaries during spring break, the same number they reported in 2012. They had just 14 reports in 2011. The jump prompted police to start a new service.
We had wanted that idea for a long time. We were just trying to make sure that the information would be on a secured server and that no one could get to that information once it was developed.
The department introduced a vacation watch and passing program to prevent burglaries while people are away. The vacation watch and passing form is simple to access online. Go to gocolumbiamo.com, enter your start and stop dates, enter some personal information along with residence information and an emergency contact number. Columbia resident Tawny Swadley lives in a residential area where she says neighbors typically look out for each other, but she thinks the whole community would benefit by utilizing the service if they knew about it.
You know, I think that would probably calm everybody's fears if they knew that police were coming around and checking on your house when you weren't home.
Although the police department says the vacation watch and passing program should be effective, it recommends residents take additional steps to secure their homes.
Well, you definitely want to make sure that all your doors and windows are locked. Put your lights on timers and stop your mail and newspapers from being delivered and make your house look like it's being lived in still.
Fields says she thinks she will use the service before leaving her home for long periods of time.
I would definitely use it because I do not want to lose my stuff again.
Meredith Allbear, KOMU 8 News, Columbia.
Fields says in the last year her home's been broken into twice. The police department asks residents to fill out the form at least 3 days before they leave for their trip, but if necessary, anyone can call the police department to submit a request. To find out more information on the Vacation Watch and Passing program, you can visit our website, KOMU.com.
Coming up in sports, how Max Copeland lost his beard and his belly to get ready for the NFL draft.
Now, from the Ford Sports Desk, KOMU 8 Sports with Chris Gervino.
Hello, everyone. Today marked Missouri's Football Pro Day. Most eyes focused on Coney Ely and Michael Sam, but as KOMU 8's Mahir Bagat shows us, scouts could not believe their eyes when they saw Max Copeland.
I went for the shock and awe approach today.
Max Copeland lost 50 pounds and switched from offensive lineman to fullback, which shocked everyone, including his dad.
He kept it under wraps. He wanted to open the present today. So this is really the first time that I got to see him skinny.
I just beat the hell out of myself for about 10 hours a day.
Copeland says 3 Mizzou graduate assistants helped him.
To be a almost 320-pound dude and say, I want to change positions in about 2 months. How do you feel about that? You want to help me with that? To get dudes to say, okay, let's do it. It's going to be hard, boy. And not get scoffed at, those dudes deserve recognition.
Copeland says he was also on a strict no-carb, all-protein diet.
I'll tell you what the hardest part was, actually. No carbs. That sucks. No cheat meals, no, today, no. It was every meal had to be perfect.
At Pro Day, we saw Copeland go from blocking for James Franklin to catching passes.
When he told me that, I was like, okay, well, I got to make sure, I throw it nice and easy so he can catch it, but I was putting it on and he had some really good hands.
I love Max, man. Just to see him all slim down and everything and catching routes, it's exciting, man. I would love to see that, and I wish Max the best.
Scouts say Copeland doesn't have the natural athleticism to play in the NFL, but that hasn't stopped him from chasing his dream.
Because I knew people thought I couldn't do it, and that's probably a good reason as any to do something.
All he needs is an opportunity, and he will succeed.
Pretty impressive. Mahir, thank you very much. Tonight at 10, more from Pro Day, and we will hear from Michael Sam's agent. The state high school basketball semifinals are underway for the bigger schools at Mizzou Arena. In Class 5, the Hickman boys play Hazelwood Central tonight at 8:30. The QBs beat the Hawks during the regular season. Right now, Class 5 girls semifinal action. Rockridge leading St. Joseph's Academy by 12 in the fourth quarter. The Bruins just 2 wins away from a third consecutive state title. We'll have highlights of the Hickman and Rockridge games both tonight at 10. The Columbia College men's basketball team will play Belhaven tonight in opening round action of the NAI tournament in Kansas City. The Cougars are 31-2, ranked 4th in the country. Meanwhile, the season is over for the William Woods University women after the Owls lost to Westminster of Utah today by 16 at the NAI National Women's Tourney in Frankfort, Kentucky. William Woods ends its season with a mark of 22-11. And 4 Missouri wrestlers are still with a shot at a national championship after today's opening round of the NCAA championship meet in Oklahoma City. Among them, number 1 ranked Drake Hattershelt at 149 pounds and number 2 seeded Jaden Cox, the Hickman High graduate, at 197. They're just underway today. We'll have more updates, of course, as the weekend progresses. But for now, that's sports.
New baby buggy, new baby, new...
Whoa. How about that? Pat Sajak says it's the most amazing guess he's seen in 30 years on Wheel of Fortune. With just 2 letters, Emile De Leon. Got the puzzle. He won show us that $45,000. There you go. And $63,000 for the half hour. Congratulations to Emile De Leon.
I love it. He was so excited. Wheel of Fortune is coming up next, but that one's going to be tough to beat. Now here's a look at what we're following for KOMU 8 News at 9 and 10. We're taking a look at the stricter rules MU is considering for reporting sexual assault cases following student swimmer Sasha Manu Corey's suicide.
And more information on the safety of another MU-owned apartment complex. Rosie.
Thanks, guys. I just want to show current temperatures one more time since they're so beautiful. It looks like tonight's going to be a really mild one. You can see most of us still now into the middle 60s, and it's going to be a gorgeous day on Friday before things really cool down for the weekend. I feel like biggest question, would you guys have thought that baby buggy is still something that we would have used?
No, I would
everyday
not have
lingo?
gotten it. You got to give a props
First
for that
guess.
one.
New baby.
New baby buggy of all things.
Have a great night.